First, maps with location. We've completely rewritten the UI, and we now have the ability to find your current location in maps. Web clips. You can now make web clips of your favorite websites and put them right on the home screen. You can customize the home screen and create up to 9 total home screens that you can flick between. You can SMS multiple people at once. When you're watching videos, you can have chapters and navigate through your videos with chapters. And if it supports it, you can have subtitles in alternate languages. And if you have lyrics, we support displaying of lyrics now in the iPod. So what I'd love to do now is show you this stuff. Let's go to Maps. And as you can see, we've got a new user interface for Maps here. We've got search and directions right in the middle here so people don't get confused. Over on the right side, we've got a little view button, and I can hit that and just curl up the map, and it allows me to see my map. But this button on the left is really cool. I push it, and it's going to locate. It's going to locate me right on the map. Zoom. And there we are. This is pretty cool. And I can just flip right into directions now, and it uses my current location as the start. And I could say, well, that's cool. I want to get back to Apple. And just find the route. And here we are. I could say I want to edit that. And what I really want is I know we have an Apple store nearby here. And I've bookmarked that as well. And so let's calculate the route to that. And here's the Apple store. So after the keynote, I can wander over to the store. I can drive over to the store. So that's pretty cool. And I can also now drop a pin anywhere I want to. And move it around. And let's say when I'm going to the Apple store, I find a cool little shop over here I want to bookmark. And I can just add this to my bookmarks. I can get directions. I can remove the pin, whatever I want. And I can just keep track of those kinds of locations that I want to go to again. So that is the new Maps. And again, we develop our Maps application in conjunction with Google. They have awesome Maps technology. And we write the front-end apps, and it's a great collaboration, and we love working with those guys. So, I want to now SMS more than one person at once. And I'm going to bring up a new message here. And I'm going to just, well, let's say I want to send it to Phil and Scott. And, oops, got to spell his name right. Scott Forstall and maybe Tim. And maybe Tony Fidel right there. And I could just say hi. And this will actually send a message to him now. And so I'm sending a message to 4 people here, which is kind of nice. It's right here at the top of my list right there, you can see. And if I want to send another SMS to all of these folks, with one click of my finger, I've addressed it and I'm ready to go. So it's pretty nice. So that's sending SMSs to more than one person at once. Web clips. Web clips is pretty cool. So I go to my Safari browser. I'm looking at the Apple home screen now. And I'm going to go to Google because they have these really cool apps now that work with the iPhone. And I think I might use them a lot. And what I can do is I now have this plus button right down there at the bottom in the center. And I can just push this plus button. And what's going to happen is, in addition to have add to bookmark, I have add to home screen, and I can mail a link to this page if I want to. So I'll say add to home screen, and it comes up, and I can rename it if I want, and it shows me the icon that I'm going to get. And I say, that's just fine. Let's add it. And so now that icon is now added to my home screen. I'm going to go get another one. This one takes a while to load, but it's the New York Times. It's a great website. And we'll just go ahead and wait for it to load here. As web clips can be more than just a website, they can also remember where I've zoomed and panned to. So on the New York Times, I often like to just look at the front page and look at the technology section here once it loads in. We'll zoom up to the technology section. There we go. And that's what I want to see. And we'll just go ahead and say add this to the home screen. And we'll get rid of the whole New York Times and just put NYT, because that takes up a little less room. And we'll add it. And now I've got a New York Times right here. right? And I just touch these and I go right back to those websites, which is really cool. Now, I may want to customize my home screen. And so what I can do is just touch any icon for a few seconds, and they all start to jiggle. They all get a little restless. And I can do whatever I want. I can take something out of the dock if I want. I only have 3 things in the dock. I can say, I'm going to use these Google apps a lot. I'm going to put them right in the dock there. I'm going to take my New York Times and just slide it over to the right of the screen, and it goes to another page that I've made with all my other web clips on it. And when I'm done, well, I can go back here if I want, and I can just, move stocks down here, and I can move, my calendar over here, whatever I want to do. And I just push home, and I'm done. And now my icons have been rearranged, and I can go see some of these other web clips. I can just push Bank of America. They have a great mobile banking app here, and I just go right to it. It's that simple. And I can create up to 9 of these home screens and just literally flick between them with a flick of my finger. So there you have it. So how do we do some of this stuff? Let's take maps. There's no GPS inside the iPhone. We've got this great new user interface, but how do we actually arrive at the location? Well, we're working with 2 companies to do that, Google and a company called Skyhook Wireless. Let me start with Skyhook. What they've done is they've driven the US and Canada in little cars with antennas on them and GPS receivers in them, and they've mapped Wi-Fi hotspots. They're now doing Europe and starting in Asia. And they've got 23 million Wi-Fi hotspots in their database. And so when we go to find a location, it turns out you pick up beacons from these hotspots, even if you're not connected to them. And then you pick up the beacons, we triangulate the beacons, look in their database, and it tells us where we are. Isn't that cool? It's really cool. And Google is doing basically the same thing with triangulating cell tower information off the cellular network. And we're using both of them. And it works pretty doggone well. So that is how we find location on the iPhone. We can reposition them anywhere we want. SMS, multiple people at a time, and again, have a record of that so I can just, if I want to, one finger, send a message to all those people again. And when I'm watching films now, I've got 2 buttons here. One shows me all the chapters. I can navigate through the video by chapters. And the other, if the video contains alternate language tracks or subtitles, I can turn those off and on and select the language as well. If I have lyrics data, it puts it right on top of the album art when I go in with the scrubber. So these are some of the new features that we've got on the iPhone. And all of this is available today as a free software update for every iPhone owner. The iPhone is not standing still. We keep making it better and better and better and giving free software updates to our users. So, that's the iPhone. What about the iPod Touch? They do have the same software system inside. What can we do for the iPod Touch today? Well, we're doing something pretty big. We've decided to add 5 apps to the iPod Touch. We're going to add our amazing Mail app, our Maps app, which you just saw, Stocks, Notes, and Weather. And this is what it's going to look like for the iPod Touch. Mail, Stocks, Notes, and Weather. Maps with Wi-Fi location, because the iPod Touch has Wi-Fi. So whenever we can pick up those Wi-Fi beacons, we can use Skyhook to find the location, even on an iPod Touch that doesn't have a cellular radio in it. Web clips, customize the home screens, the same stuff we just heard on iPhone, on the iPod Touch. And starting today, we are going to build it into every new iPod Touch that leaves the factory. And for existing iPod Touch users, it's going to be just a $20 upgrade. And you get all these new features. And available today on iTunes. So you can just go to iTunes, plug in your iPod Touch. You'll see a page just like this, and with one button, you can download this entire software update to your iPod Touch. And so the iPod Touch and the iPhone, major software updates to each one. And that was the second thing I wanted to talk about today.